A few years ago, a financial advisor shared a story that completely changed the way I think about wealth. One of his clients had just crossed a milestone that most people spend their entire lives chasing. His net worth had surpassed $5 million. He owned his home outright. His investment portfolio generated more income than he actually spent. His children had college funds. He had no consumer debt. By almost every definition, he had already won the financial game. Yet during one meeting, he looked across the table and quietly admitted something unexpected. "I still don't feel rich." The advisor smiled and asked him a simple question. "Why?" His answer was almost heartbreaking. "Because everyone around me has more." One friend owned a private jet. Another had a vacation home in Aspen. His business partner had recently sold his company for over $50 million. Suddenly, $5 million no longer felt extraordinary. It felt ordinary. Now think about that for a moment. If someone with $5 million can still feel financially behind, what number actually makes someone feel wealthy? $100,000? $500,000? $1 million? $10 million? Or is the answer something entirely different? Most people spend decades believing there's a magical number that will finally make them feel secure. If I can just reach this salary, if I can just buy that house, if I can just hit 1 million, then life will finally feel different. But something strange happens every time people reach those milestones. The finish line quietly moves. The dream house becomes average. The new salary becomes normal. The expensive car loses its excitement. And suddenly the goal that once felt impossible no longer feels enough. This isn't a financial problem. It's a psychological one. Because the greatest illusion about money isn't that most people are poor. It's that almost everyone is comparing themselves to the wrong people. Every day your brain collects evidence that you're falling behind. You see luxury vacations, designer clothes, brand new cars, beautiful homes, people announcing promotions, friends starting businesses. Social media has created the strange illusion that everyone else is becoming wealthy except you. But appearances have never been a reliable measure of wealth. Some of the people who look the richest are financing lifestyles they can barely afford. Others are carrying credit card balances month after month. Some have impressive incomes but almost no investments. Others have beautiful homes but almost nothing saved for retirement. The performance of wealth has become louder than wealth itself. And that's exactly why so many financially responsible people constantly feel like they're losing. Today, we're going to uncover the invisible wealth ladder that almost nobody talks about. Not a ladder built on status, but one built on freedom. Because somewhere along this journey, money quietly stops being about buying more things and starts becoming about buying more choices. Before we continue, if you enjoy exploring the psychology behind money, human behavior, and financial freedom, consider subscribing. Every week, we break down the hidden principles that shape extraordinary lives. Now, let's begin. Imagine two families. The first earns nearly $250,000 every year. The second earns less than $90,000. Without knowing anything else, most people immediately assume the first family is wealthier. But income only tells part of the story. Let's look closer. The first family lives in a beautiful neighborhood. They drive luxury SUVs. Their children attend expensive private schools. Every vacation looks incredible on Instagram. From the outside, they're the picture of success. But behind closed doors, something very different is happening. Their mortgage consumes a huge portion of their income. The cars are financed. Credit card balances quietly grow every month. Every promotion brings another lifestyle upgrade. Every raise disappears before it ever reaches their savings account. Now look at the second family. They live in a smaller home. They drive reliable used cars. Their vacations are simple. Nobody envies them online. But every month, something almost invisible happens. Money quietly flows into investments before it ever reaches their checking account. Their emergency fund slowly grows. Their debt continues shrinking. Their retirement accounts compound year after year. 15 years later, the second family has accumulated significantly more wealth, not because they earned more, because they owned more. This is the first lesson that quietly separates wealthy people from everyone else. Most people spend money trying to improve today's appearance. Wealthy people spend money improving tomorrow's freedom. Those sound similar, They're completely different. One creates admiration, the other creates independence. And here's where almost everyone gets trapped. Human beings are naturally wired to compare themselves with the people around them. Thousands of years ago, this instinct helped us survive. Knowing your place inside a tribe meant understanding safety, opportunity, and belonging. But today, your tribe isn't 50 people, it's millions. Every time you unlock your phone, your brain compares your ordinary life to someone else's carefully edited highlight reel. Your neighbor buys a new truck, a coworker posts pictures from Italy, an old classmate announces they bought a second home, another friend launches a successful business. Without realizing it, your brain begins measuring your financial progress against people whose full financial story you'll never know. You see the house, you don't see the mortgage. You see the luxury vacation, you don't see the credit card bill. You see the expensive watch. You don't see the years of financial stress that came before it. This is why comparison quietly becomes one of the most expensive habits in personal finance. Because comparison changes behavior. Instead of investing, people upgrade. Instead of saving, people spend. Instead of asking, "What will improve my future?" they begin asking, "What will make me look successful today?" And those two questions lead to completely different lives. One of the most surprising discoveries researchers have made is that happiness doesn't increase in a straight line with wealth. Once basic needs are comfortably met, every additional dollar creates smaller emotional returns than the one before it. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. Most of us simply call it getting used to things. The new phone becomes normal. The larger house becomes normal. The promotion becomes normal. Even financial milestones that once felt impossible slowly lose their emotional impact. This explains why someone earning $300,000 a year can still feel financially trapped, while another person earning $80,000 sleeps peacefully every night. The difference often isn't income, it's expectations. The more your lifestyle grows, the more your definition of enough quietly expands alongside it. And that's why the finish line keeps moving. And that's why the finish line keeps moving. A young graduate dreams of earning $50,000 a year. 5 years later, they reach it. For a brief moment, they feel successful. Then a coworker starts earning $70,000. Suddenly, 50 no longer feels impressive. Years pass. The salary climbs to $100,000. The apartment gets bigger. The car gets newer. Life becomes more comfortable. But strangely, the feeling of almost there never disappears. The number changes. The emotion doesn't. This is why so many people spend their lives chasing wealth without ever experiencing the feeling they thought wealth would bring. Not because they're doing poorly, because they're measuring progress with the wrong ruler. Real wealth isn't measured by how much you earn. It's measured by how much control you have over your life. Can you survive if your paycheck disappears for 6 months? Can you say no to a job that makes you miserable? Can you help your parents if they suddenly need you? Can you take a month off without worrying about bills? Those questions reveal far more about your financial position than your salary ever will. That's also why the truly wealthy often appear surprisingly ordinary. Many drive older cars, wear simple clothes, live in homes smaller than they could comfortably afford. Not because they lack money, because they've stopped buying status. They've started buying freedom. Freedom doesn't look exciting. Nobody posts a picture of their fully funded emergency account. Nobody celebrates paying off their mortgage on Instagram. Nobody goes viral because they maxed out their retirement contributions. The habits that quietly create wealth are almost always invisible. They're repetitive, sometimes even boring. Automatic investing, living below your means, avoiding unnecessary debt, waiting before making large purchases, choosing ownership over appearance. None of those decisions will impress strangers today. But together, over 20 or 30 years, they create a life that most people quietly wish they had. Think about the people you've met who always seem calm around money. They're usually not the ones constantly talking about money. They're not chasing every new investment trend. They're not trying to prove how successful they are. They've simply built enough margin into their lives that money no longer controls every decision. That's the hidden goal almost nobody talks about. Money isn't valuable because it buys luxury. Money is valuable because it removes fear. Fear of losing your job, fear of an unexpected emergency, fear of saying no, fear of running out. When those fears begin to disappear, something remarkable happens. Your relationship with money changes. You stop asking, "What can I afford?" and start asking, "What kind of life do I actually want?" That single question changes everything. Because wealth was never supposed to be a competition. It was supposed to be a tool. A tool that gives you more choices, more time, more peace, more freedom to spend your days the way you choose. Ironically, the people who understand this often stop chasing wealth as a status symbol. They still invest. They still save. They still grow their net worth. But they no longer need those numbers to validate who they are. They've discovered something far more valuable than appearing rich. They've discovered enough. And enough is a word our culture rarely teaches. We're constantly told to want more. A bigger house, a newer car, a higher salary, another promotion, another investment property, another milestone. But without defining what enough means for yourself, you'll spend your entire life climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. No amount of money can satisfy a goal that keeps moving. That's why some people with modest incomes sleep peacefully every night, while others earning hundreds of thousands of dollars remain trapped by anxiety. One owns their money, the other is owned by it. The invisible wealth ladder isn't about reaching a magical number. It's about reaching a place where money stops making every decision for you, where your investments quietly work in the background, where debt no longer dictates your future, where you have enough breathing room to make choices based on purpose instead of panic. That kind of wealth rarely makes headlines, but it changes lives. So before you leave this video, ask yourself one honest question. If nobody could see your house, your car, your clothes, or your bank account, would you still make the same financial decisions you're making today? Because your answer tells you whether you're building a life designed to impress strangers or a life designed to give you freedom. If you enjoyed this video and want to understand the psychology behind money, wealth, and the habits that quietly separate financial freedom from financial stress, make sure to subscribe. Every week, we explore timeless ideas that help you think differently about success, money, and the decisions that shape an extraordinary life. And remember, the people who look wealthy aren't always the people building wealth.